baby. Well, I hope we get some more people. Oh, hold on. Now I can hear you. Sorry, I couldn't hear you, baby. What'd you say?
I said your topic sounds interesting. I don't think I know officially how to rehearse.
How to practice at home? Well, I hope that it's not going to be like pedantic. I don't want to be like offensively simple. But I think that I have some helpful hints. I really do. I have like, after all, 3 full pages of notes, and I have a whole presentation and everything. So it's gonna be good. I'm really excited about it.
I had this afternoon a Zoom with women that I graduated college with. Apparently
Fun.
they're Zooming every month, or they have been in the past month. I don't know. But of course, I didn't recognize anybody. It's been 50-something years.
My goodness.
And but one of them said, "Oh, didn't you used to play the flute?" She said, "We played duets together."
Fun.
And it was true. It was great to see her again.
Mm-hmm. Reconnect in that way.
Oh, yeah.
That's super fun. Oh my goodness, I love it. Well, how fun. How long did you all get to talk?
Oh, it went to almost 2 hours.
My.
I and another woman were the newbies, so we got theoretically 5 minutes to say something. And then everybody else was supposed to take a couple minutes to update.
Sure.
And some of them were more talkative than they needed to be.
That will happen. There are plenty of some of our own members that are a bit more talkative than they maybe should be sometimes, like during circle time or introduction things.
Well, I mean, it was interesting. These women are 80, right?
And
one of them is teaching poetry, and one of them has started a new program to teach doctors to deal with autistic adults. And I mean, they're not sitting home. One of them is a realtor who went today to view a 1-room apartment in a $1 million house, and they're all quite active or almost all of them quite active.
Well, that's amazing. Well, good for them. Like, what a wonderful thing to get to talk to all of them. How many women did you get to talk to?
Well, there were 20 of them.
Oh, my.
And there's a woman in Chicago, and of course I'm the only one in Minnesota.
Uh-huh.
Mostly, but there are some number of them on the West Coast and mostly in the East Coast.
Mm-hmm. That's excellent.
A woman from Georgia who was still not quite as accented as she used to be.
Georgia. Oh my goodness, yes. Well, shall we get started in a moment? Should we poke anybody? I don't know.
Hey everyone, just want to say hey.
Hi Jennifer, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. Okay. I don't know if I can record this or not. Nope. Catherine, do you have the record button on your side?
I do, and I made you co-host, but if that's not enough, I will just go ahead and make you host.
Well, I thought that the last time you making me co-host was enough, but...
But if it didn't work this time, let's make you host.
Yeah. Let's see.
You'll probably get some kind of notification.
Yep, you are the host now. Oh, okay. No, I don't want that anymore. Yes, cool. Now I have this. It says record to the cloud. Does that go to your cloud then?
One of us will get an email. I mean, it's University of Minnesota's storage space, probably. When else will get an email notification? Probably you, because you're the host, saying that the recording's ready.
Yeah?
But if I get it, I'll forward it to you.
Cool.
And it, yeah, gives a link and whatever.
Alrighty. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Anybody want to poke anybody, like send a message or post on the Facebook group? Because I have a whole presentation. Jennifer, there are a couple of pictures that are in some of the slides of this presentation. However, the pictures are not any vital information is on any of them. It's just for funsy little looking at. Like, for example, one of the pictures is a silhouette of a person stretching. Another one is just a picture of a music room. It's like a color or illustrated, that's the word I'm looking for, an illustrated picture of a music room, things like that. So there's no vital information that you will be missing from those pictures. All of the other information I have, and you'll hear it from my voice, okay?
Sounds good.
Excellent. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started with recording this, and then we're going to get started with the presentation. So, boom, we're recording now. Okay, so I am going to share my screen and we're going to go ahead and get started. Let's do, yes, share. All right. Let's talk about how to warm up and practice at home. Because we've all been stuck at home now for a long time. And this is where we are. So, the first thing is obviously your physical space. You're going to need to find a space, if you haven't already, in your home that's comfortable for you. A quiet place that you can concentrate and gather your stuff. This sort of stuff should include things like your music. If your music's held in a binder or a folder, that as well. Pencils, a highlighter if you have music that you're able to highlight. Your water bottle, a metronome, piano or guitar, headphones, any technology you might need, these sorts of things. And this is not an all-inclusive list. This is just, the basic stuff I could think of right now. So let's talk about warming up. There are 3 parts of an effective sequenced warm-up. The first is body preparation. The second is breath activation. And the third is top-down vocalization. So we know, to be able to practice at home, you have to have a voice that's warmed up adequately. Otherwise, your practicing isn't going to go as far or go as well as you would want it to go otherwise. So the first thing, body preparation. We have this nice picture of that woman stretching there. These stretching and posture exercises help to align the body for singing. It just gets us ready for all of the stuff that we're about to do. That's why we always start off our choir warm-ups and singing warm-ups with stretches, just basic stuff to get our muscles engaged and ready for what we're about to do. The second is our breath activation. This includes a controlled exhalation of a hiss or a shh. And our breathing exercise that we know combines stretching and posture with breath support and control. So for a moment, I'm going to come back to you so that we can see each other, because I want to talk through all of the elements of the breathing exercise and why those are what they are. So we start off the breathing exercise, as we know, with our arms across our bodies like that. Hi, Maddie. And there's no real reason for this other than to open our bodies up as we swoop down and open our ribs up for all of that air that we're about to take in. So this is just the preparatory move for that. The big swoop of the arms, this motion, keeping your ribs open, is the most effective way for your body to breathe, which is sort of crazy, the most effective physical position. And so while your hands are up here, with your fingers laced like we do, you hold your breath. And when you hold your breath, that breath deepens ever so slightly inside of your lungs, just giving ever so slightly a little bit more resistance for your external and internal intercostal muscles in your ribs, and also for your diaphragm to give just that little bit of resistance. So you're holding your breath and the stretching from side to side. We know what that is. The pull down is just the preparatory motion and a nice motion for the shh. Then the open up to breathe, natural motion, and F to exhale. We know how that goes. And then the breath control part of that comes in how long can we exhale on that F, right? And all the way back down. It also helps us to get into position for singing when our shoulders are rolled back and down and our chest is nice and high. Obviously, we would do that entire thing standing, but we don't have to do that right now. All right, let's go back to our presentation here. Yes, share. All right. Okay, so we were just talking about our breathing exercise. Controlled exhalation of the hiss and shh. Now the vocalizing part. So in the sequenced warm-up, you should always start with top down warming up, because this is the easiest way for your voice to just ever so slowly stretch a little bit at a time. And you should start with the small intervals and then grow. Like when we start with our humming, we often start with an interval of just a third. Just rolling it. Now that isn't exactly top down, but it does lead us into something like our ooh, which does go from top down. Or the ah for our altos. Ah, ah. There are other easy things that we can do. Lip buzzes, for example. Lip buzzes are the things that you do when you like a horse does, you know, that neighing sound. So I'll come back to you just one more time here. So there are a couple of ways that you can do the lip buzzing. And oftentimes when I have my singers do lip buzzing for a while, your nose can start to get ticklish, so you just press on your nose ever so slightly. And if you go faster, you have to use more air. So more air equals a faster vibration of your lips. Slower moving air has more, I don't know, flappiness to it. Less tightness of the muscles gets you a flappier sound. A little bit more tension of the muscles gives you a better lip buzz. Tongue trills as well. That's like rolling your R's. That is a tongue trill, and you don't have to have any sort of pitch whatsoever of piano to do a tongue trill. It can just be a simple to get it going fast. All right, let's come back to the presentation and we can look at some more of these here. Yes.
I've learned, Crystal, that if you can't do your lip buzzes, if you push on your cheeks, you can do that.
Really? So if you're saying if you push here, and that works? Oh, like this? Oh! I'll have to try that, because I'm not a person that has a difficulty with that, but I will have to remember that. Thank you, BB. All right, let's come back to our presentation here. Thank you for showing me that. It's incredibly helpful. Okay. Oh, our wee-o exercise is another top-down one. Wee-o-wee-o-wee-o-wee-o-wee. It has a few more intervals in there, but it's the same. Wee-o-wee-o-wee-o-wee-o-wee. Top-down. And then the last one on that list there is our normal. Mi, ma, mo, mo, or the articulated version with the moo hoo 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 at the very end. Next, you can start building those intervals. We've already started going to, you started at a third, built it up to a fifth, and now we're keeping in that same fifth range. We're going to expand it a little bit, but starting off with our Z-ah, this starts on the bottom, and then comes from the top all the way back down in a scale-wise motion, just like the exercise that we're used to doing. Z-ah. The purpose for doing bottom to top and down exercises is to practice taking the bottom and not putting as much weight on it and making the focus the top of that phrase or the top of that to the end of the phrase. For example, Z-ah could be the end of the phrase there, or we could make the highest note of the phrase be the most important. Either way, we're focusing on keeping the weight out of the bottom so that the top is exercised. And we don't have to worry about the changing of ranges, which is why top down is the most effective, because it's much smoother transition for your voice to go from the high hooty head voice to your middle voice or even down lower into that regular modular voice or your chest voice. Next we have the good old standard, I love to sing. That's an octave jump, so it goes from the same note to the same note on top, and then down a fifth or down a fourth to the so, mi, do. That one's a good choir favorite. I love to sing. Next one follows the same pattern. It's jumping an octave. It's I know, I know, I know, I know. This is an articulation one. It gives more weight off of the bottom and up to the top. It's dancier. It just gives you a couple of other options. All right. Other exercises that you can do warming up. Scale-based exercises, things for musicality, crescendos and decrescendos. We've done some of that already with our Z-ah. We can do things like this even with a single note. However, something like the crescendo decrescendo, we could do an easy crescendoing over the course of 8 counts or decrescendoing over the same amount of time, something like that. Phrase length is another thing that can easily be worked on inside of warm-up exercises. One of the really nice ones is the tune from Peer Gynt. You could do it on a simple vowel. Ooh, I'll choose. Ooh. So inside of there, you can do crescendo and decrescendo. You can work on that entire thing being over one breath. Lots of different things that you can do with that exercise, and even going up to different keys as well. Things working on agility. We know our exercise, E-oo, E-oo, E. E-oo, E-oo, E. That's it. And that's the one that's doing a triplet to get your voice just dancing around a little bit. Still going from top down, but adding a couple of extra accent notes in there. This next one that I have on there for agility, I have not done with Calliope very often, maybe only a handful of times, but I got this from one of my professors in my master's degree. It is a phrase length and agility exercise. In this key, it sounds like this. I wander through the lovely woods, I wander through the woods. So you try to do that entire exercise over one breath, which is quite a challenge for beginning singers or if you haven't been singing for a while. There's also that agility of the melisma in there, multiple notes over one, or multiple notes in one syllable, rather, one vowel. Okay, so let's talk about some of the things that you can do if you don't have an instrument, or if you're somewhere that you don't have access to anything. These are the things you can do. You can do lip buzzes. Anything of growing size that starts small and gets larger in its intervals is helpful. Same thing with tongue trills. It doesn't have to start anywhere in particular. And that can just go anywhere. Hoot owls, like we know. Hoo, hoo, hoo. And all the way down there. Our frisbee throw. I'll come back here because I want to show off this next couple of things. Our frisbee throw, we already know how to do that one, right? We have the normal wind up. Woo! And that's another bottom to top and all the way back down again. Sirens, general sirens you can do. Woo! And going all the way down to the basement, right? Pattern tracing. Okay, so I needed to come and see you for this one because pattern tracing, I mean like tracing a pattern either in the air or creating something you can see a design somewhere. I don't know. I like to get creative with my pattern tracing. Sometimes I take my dry erase board and draw like some squiggles and make my voice do that. So, oh, here, I'll just grab my dry erase board real fast and I'll show you what I mean. So, for example, oh, where's my marker? Here we go. For example, I could draw something like, I don't know, looks like a cursive R sort of, but my voice would follow that pattern. So it would start off here with a little hook. Oh, something silly like that. It doesn't have to be a beautiful sound, and oftentimes I make really silly sounds when I do this, but it's the moving between the lower ranges, middle, and upper stuff in there that you're trying to get smoothly, because that's what we're trying to do. We're going for those lengthener muscles and shortener muscles to get equally stretched out and warmed up for your practicing. So, what else do we have? Messa di voce, that's this thing where you have the crescendo and then the decrescendo right after that. So, like that, where it gets loud in the middle. We do that in choir a lot. A bouncing ball. Oh, I forgot to bring my actual ball in here. I mean a literal ball. So, it could be a beanbag, it could be an actual bouncing ball, but something that you can toss gently or bounce gently on the ground, that your voice can do the exact same thing. That's an easy way to warm up your voice with a physical activity without an instrument. Anything that you have around. I could even toss a marker. Ooh! Woo! Whoop! And then drop it. Okay, so let's do some other things. Oh, and if it bounces down on the ground too, you can practice articulation that way. It's pretty fun. Lots of different things here. All right, let's move to our next slide now. Okay, we've done skill-based exercises and exercises without an instrument. Let's talk about practicing. How to practice at home. First things first is you should have a goal. You don't want to just go into practicing blind, just thinking, oh, I'll just go through all of my songs. No, that's probably not the best idea. You want to identify problem areas or even problem songs just in general. Isolate the spot or spots and then add on to it. And I'll talk to you about what I mean here. So when we're rehearsing, when we're at home practicing, there are often small musical spots that are problems. And it's not really a whole lot else that's around it that's the issue, but it could be a pitch or a rhythm or the way that that vocal line fits with another voice part that could be the problem. So the things that you got to consider when you're practicing are, what are the elements that could be tripping me up, or the things that go into this specific part of music, because all of it matters, we know. It could be the tempo or the speed of the piece. It could be going too fast or too slow, or your brain's just not clicking with something. It could be the actual rhythm, text, and language, or how any of these things combine. Pitches or notes, those are the same thing. Harmony, if it's fine to be able to practice your line by itself, but the challenge comes when hearing another voice part, that's a harmonic practice challenge there. Dynamics and articulations. Can you sing the notes but have a hard time singing it that loud or that quietly or that short or cutting it off, such as our last one there, entrances and cutoffs. So all of these things, as you're practicing, you want to identify the small spot that's the issue. Work on that spot, and then you want to be able to transition into that spot and out of that spot, because sometimes the troublesome area is not actually that measure or that word or that note itself, but the way that it comes into it or the way that the music gets out of that as well. So while you're practicing, you can use many different tools that we'll get to here in just a moment to identify any of these things. But there are lots of different ways to go about practicing. So what do I do when I start practicing? If I'm looking at a brand new piece of music, I'll often look at, first of all, the text, because that's what we're talking about here as singers. We're looking at that. And oftentimes the text and the rhythm go together. Those are often the same thing for singing things. Pitches and harmony are next for me, because if this is easy by itself, if your line, if your alto line or soprano 2 line is quite simple on its own, but when you add the soprano 1s or the alto 2s to that and the harmony becomes the issue, that's when you can take one line, sing it by itself, and then take a different part track other than yours and try to sing along to it. Or vice versa, you can put yours on and try to sing another part. Something like that. So when you're practicing, be realistic. Identify your problems and then try to be efficient with your time. Sing smarter, not longer. Because the longer that you practice, the more likely you are to become burned out. And over practicing can cause fatigue. You could cause damage if you sing for too long or too much in an unhealthy way. So be realistic about what your goals are, what you want to accomplish during that practice time. You might not have any specific goal, but just working on, this song or that song because they need a little bit of extra time. That's valid. Some tips. Okay. So there are some things that are helpful when practicing for practicing, just as like preparatory measures. These things include photocopying your music if you can, so you can use different colors and highlighters, or if not, marking your music using a pencil. We're all aware of that. However, a lot of us forget to mark music. There's no right way to mark your music. I've had a number of students ask me, what should I write there? Well, what comes to your mind? If you're trying to say, don't sing, or stop, or wait, or louder, whatever the word or verbiage or symbol or picture it is that you need to put inside of your music is what you need. Sometimes things are funny. There are many times where I have written notes, mean notes to myself. Being like, don't you do it. Don't you come in on the wrong entrance, because sometimes you need reminders like that. Other times, in, I'll be honest, conducting things. There have been many occasions in which I need to write in my music, don't cry, so I don't cry in the middle of a performance. It's real. If I had the music, I would show it to you, but I erase all my stuff afterwards. Yeah, you use whatever you need to. Colors are helpful for me. I love using colors to show crescendos and decrescendos, dynamic differences, articulatory contrasts, section differences. If you have a big A section and a big B section and you need to bracket that off, colors are very helpful for that. However, different symbols and other things, nothing is out of the realm of possibility for marking your music. Okay, that's off my soapbox. Back to our presentation here so we can talk about some more of these tips. Alrighty, what else do we got here? Don't always start at the beginning of the song. I'm sure that you'll remember there are a number of times in which I do not start our rehearsals at the beginning of a song because it's good for your brain and good for your musical ear to be able to pick it up somewhere else and start. It doesn't have to be in the middle of a phrase necessarily. Like, you don't have to be able to start, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are, at little star. You don't have to be able to wait that long, but you should be able to get into the habit of not needing to start at the beginning of the song to cue the rest of your brain in for all of that. So when you're practicing, find that one spot. Look for that spot that's troublesome. Work on that little area. Add some stuff to it at the very beginning of that section, right around the end of that section, and then go back to the beginning and try it from the top. If it's at the end where your problem is, start at the end. Work backwards in your practicing. As you practice more at home, try to develop a routine for yourself. When you come in, make sure you have all of your materials ready, so that you don't have to make 5 or 6 trips out to your living room to grab your music, or you forgot your water bottle, or you don't have your headphones, or something like that. Gather all of your things and get everything set up in your quiet space so that you are ready to go and nothing is going to sidetrack you from that. So you can maximize your time and not have to waste other time that you could be using relaxing or doing something different. Use technology to your advantage. We know that I create the part tracks for you. You are free to use those in any way that you want. You can practice with your own voice part. You can practice your part with any of the other part tracks. I would highly suggest doing that as a practice tool, trying to sing along with another one of the voice parts. Record yourself. This is a not fun thing to do, but it's most effective toward the end of your music learning. When you're nearing completion with a song, you're putting final touches on it, recording yourself to hear what the real issues are or where things are going well is very beneficial. It's not going to feel good to have to listen to your voice. That's always sort of a painful thing for us to get over just as humans in general. But it's really helpful to be able to take a step back from that, to take a step back from your own physical voice and try to assess it in a more objective way. You can use some music tool apps to do this, which I'll get to here in just a moment. Other things like using the music apps for practicing or other things that you can do as well. Challenge yourself physically and mentally. You don't have to do this if you're having a rough time, but if you are wanting to push yourself just a little bit more with your musical learning, go for it. Try something different. No one is going to tell you not to. So let's talk about some of this technology stuff. A metronome is really helpful for rhythm practice. There are big physical metronomes that you can get, or you can get a metronome app on your phone or tablet. Those things are very helpful for helping you to just keep a consistent tempo for practicing rhythms or body percussion or practicing speaking a foreign language text in time so that you are making sure that there's no like transitional lag, using a voice or audio recorder. This is what I was talking about for recording yourself. You certainly do not have to video record yourself just for your practicing. I only do voice recording for myself unless I am looking to do a video recording to assess my entire performance, how I look on the outside, what my demeanor is, any of the acting things that I may gesturally be doing, identifying those in a video recorder. You will also need a video recorder for your virtual choir submission. So if you don't, you do because I'm talking to you through Zoom, but if you don't have a reliable one that you like right now, maybe look into some that you would enjoy more so that you would have